Good day, ladies and gents. Welcome to the FairwayFit Golf Podcast, where two friends get together to talk about how we are trying to look good, feel good, and play good. Let's go. All right, welcome back, FairwayFit fans. I've got Greg here, still set in his new house, getting moved in. But we are back, and we are excited for our episode. We do have one of our special guests, Tips from the Pro from Stevie P, will be on in a few minutes. But, Greg, let's catch up, man. It's been a little bit. The only word I can say or words I could put together right now is busy, busy, busy.
I echo your statement.
Yeah. Obviously, with different situations being busy, I know you are moving, getting settled in. I am youth sports busy. But, man, how we been doing?
Been good. I mean, weekends are jam-packed between, coaching softball now for my little girl. And, we're still undefeated, I will say. We don't keep score and pretty much every game's a tie. But it's a good time. We're learning. I think all the girls now are coach pitched, and nice. We were hitting the ball pretty well this weekend. So obviously our day of practice last week was good. Still doing swim lessons. Unfortunately, we're trying to use up all of our old swim lessons. So we're driving about an hour every Sunday, one way to go swim lessons for the kids. But obviously then we're running errands.
How's the house looking? Everything kind of getting moved in?
It's moved in. It's piecing together. Now I'm hanging shelves, hanging pictures everywhere. And one of the biggest things is anybody that wants to hear this, the I don't know what to call them, the carpet strips that you put on stairs.
Oh yeah.
Don't ever do it. Don't ever do it.
I don't know what they're called, but I know they're all that tacky glue stuff underneath.
Yes, whatever is underneath of it, I have literally ripped my hands to blisters trying to rub the stuff off, like that on the wood floors, to try and make sure it gets all of it off. And I literally have blisters all over my hands and fingers. It's pretty bad, but I mean, doing that, and then the next step is jumping right into the last room of the house, which is the one room that I get to design and the one room that I get to do what I want with. So I'm looking forward to that.
Just remember, you signed a 30-year mortgage. You're not going anywhere. As much as everyone wants to get it done, don't kill yourself. Enjoy the process.
I know, but
it's going to be.
It's going to be a good process because I'm going to have two things I always wanted in my house, and it's going to be a makeshift. It's going to be my multi-purpose room. It's going to be my golf sim, my workout room, my recording studio.
Because in a year from now, when you're going to tweak things, it's always going to change. It's a living, it's not a living document. I don't know how to say it's a living house, because obviously it's not, but just enjoy it, because I mean, we've done, and you've seen ours. The transformation's been ridiculous, and every day it's like, what do we want to do now type thing, and it's a living document. Enjoy the process. It's fun. Let the kids get involved. Let them put their little stamp on things. They'll really enjoy it.
No, they got the whole basement down here. So I mean, they got the cool kids club down here. But yeah, they got a sign, and everything.
For us, starting from Friday night, we had 15 sporting events and 2 church engagements.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah. And we were all over. On Saturday, I left the house before 7 in the morning, got home about 6 at night. So had family in town. So it wasn't like it was just me. And that's me. And I had the twins with me all day. And then, so I had about a couple hours before bedtime, but Sunday we turned around and did it again. I didn't get home till about 9:45 last night. And we were going all the way from some Springfield back to Leesburg, back to, I'm going to say Clifton, because I don't know, for lack of better word, right by George Mason. Yeah, we were up there. But it was worth it. It was a good weekend, coaching half the teams, or at least help coaching half the team. So it's good to see the growth, but it wasn't the best weather yesterday. So yeah, it is what it is. But actually don't feel too bad today. I thought I'd be a little bit more exhausted. Don't feel bad. Got a busy week this week as well too. And I can't say it slows down a lot this weekend, maybe a little bit, but got some golf with my little guy this weekend in a tournament, and then
Where's he playing?
he is headed to Shenandoah Valley, and
Okay.
then they both play next weekend, which I'm actually looking excited. My older one's really starting to get excited about the opportunity in the fall to make the high school team. So we'll see.
Where's that? Where's that?
So next week we're all three, my oldest and my little guy, are playing at Locust Hill, which I think is going to be kind of a pretty tricky course for the Reds. I think it's going to be a lot more challenging than some of the courses they played, just because of some of the angles and different things with some carry that might come into play. Not too bad, but
trying to think of the Reds there.
I mean, I obviously I don't really know too much, but I think there's some water.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun course for them, and looking forward to it. So, but as far as us, we did get out last Tuesday. We did have a match. We were on opposing teams. The only thing I can say about the match is that it was pretty similar to our one before. Nobody really played
great,
absolutely awful, but nobody really played great.
I will say Shores played pretty darn good.
Yeah, Shores
for his first time at Stoneleigh. I mean, like I will say,
I'll tell you offline a little bit about that.
I would say that he shocked me with his score.
I'm not going to get into too much detail online, but no, it was fun. Luckily, I was able to come out on the victorious side, but again, I don't want to claim it too much because I don't think anybody really played that well. And then Anthony, obviously good friend of the show, was battling a little bit. But
yeah,
before we get into our tips of the pro, which we're going to cut to in a moment when we had Stevie P on, I still want to talk about Loudoun golfers. You need to listen up. All right. If you are serious about leveling up your game or just love competing with your buddies and friends, the Back Nine at Leesburg is that place. Opening soon within the next week or two. Full swing 2.0 simulators, a putt view green, which I know both of us are extremely excited about. But when it comes down to if you want to get better, this place has got the data for you. It's going to make sure that you are set to get better this summer. When it's hot, 110, you don't want to be on the golf course, or when it's raining. Open 24/7 whenever you want. Come, knock it out, play with your buddies. Get the data you need. Play anywhere in the world with all the golf courses available. Founding memberships are live right now. Lock it in. Check it out. theback9golf.com/Leesburg, Virginia, or follow them on Instagram with B9 Golf Leesburg. But for right now, let's cut to Tips of the Pro with Stevie P. All right, we are back with one of my favorite parts of the show. This third time having our pro on, Stevie P. We got tips from the pro. Stevie, how are we doing today?
Pretty good, guys. How are you today?
How is the golf game?
My golf game is rounding into form nicely.
Oh boy.
Oh, yeah. I was waiting. The way you started that, I was actually waiting for you to be like, actually, I'm in shambles. And I was about to be like, whoa. We got like 2 weeks for you to fix that.
No, well, I can tell you how I gauge if my golf game is feeling well is if I can get up and down with a high rate of consistency. You know, if I'm missing greens and giving myself really good looks at making par, or, you know, if it's a par 5, making a birdie, and then just any kind of practice that I do. If it's contact is good, spin. I mean, just I've been getting a lot of.
You're saying to get good, you have to practice golf, because I haven't played, or my clubs are yelling at me. They're yelling at me.
When you're a naturally talented athlete like yourself, you know, I think practice can be a little overrated. You know,
I think technically I'm the only person that never touched or sniffed a pro tour of some sort, or a profession in a sport.
Well, you get paid to do something, Brad. So, or Greg, you're a professional. You're a professional at something. It's just
long time ago. So I heard a line. It's going to make us all feel really old in a second here. But I'm glad you brought up some up and down. That's a little bit of foreshadowing we might get to. But I heard a line the other day. 1980 is in 4 years from now is 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Wait, I mean, just you were born in 81, right?
I understand that. I understand that means I'm closer to 50, but 1980, like, you can't sit here and still say like, oh, 20 years ago, you're thinking that's like the 90s still, and it's going to be 2000 with
It's
50
far
years
from
ago,
it.
so.
Yeah.
So 1980 is closer to World War II than it is to today.
Ouch.
Ouch. Now you're
Wow,
like on
dude,
daggers.
I mean,
Okay.
if you were born at the end of World War II, you were 35 in 1980, and
Okay.
1, 2, 3, none of us are 35
No.
right now. So
No.
you know,
I'm the closest to it.
I don't know.
I
I don't think you
I
are.
think Stevie P's younger.
I think
Is
you
it?
overestimate how old I am because of
What year were you born?
I was born in 85, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm bigger.
What's
I just
funny is
look-
that
I just
and
look
you,
8.
I just
What's funny
judge
is that
people
you
by
can
how
tell-
old their kids are.
you could tell that we were way off because we were asking you back in season 2 when we had you on if you were playing like the Burners or the Callaway
Yeah.
Big Bertha,
Yeah.
and you were probably like,
Well,
what are these old
No,
farts
no.
talking about?
Familiar with
The
those?
bubble too.
Yeah, the bubble too. No, I know all that stuff. I
You did
just
have the
was-
square Nike driver, so that was good.
Sasquatch.
I actually did not have that driver. I think my brother had that driver, and it sounded like he was hitting a tin can every time he hit it, but he swore by it. So whatever.
If
you know,
if
so-
you still swing that driver, you're probably the best golfer in your group.
or you wear plaid shorts with pockets on the sides,
That's okay
down at
too,
the
though.
knees. You know what I mean?
That's
the
okay, too.
cargo plaid shorts.
Cargo plaid
No
shorts.
judgment, no
That
judgment.
might be a good look for turkey
Yeah.
shootout.
There
Yeah,
we go.
yeah,
There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, let's drop into our tips from the pro, one of our favorite segments as we were talking about. And today we are talking about up and down, right? Something we talked about last week. Make sure to check out our last episode. Make sure to check out as we went over some stats or some facts and myths about PGA Tour players. And one thing that Greg and I always are so surprised at is that a average tour player only hits about 60 to 66% of their greens, meaning they're hitting 11 to 12 greens a game, excuse me, not a game, but a round, and they got to get up and down. And, you know, one thing we always work on is chipping, is something that's kind of in our practice routine. So Steve, you're going to kind of tell us what's the magic here to get up and down?
Well, I don't. First of all, I wish I knew what the magic was. You know, the backdrop would be a little bit different, I think, if I knew what the magic was. But I think the key with short game, and I actually heard something recently. It was a tour player talking about the work he and his coach were doing, and it was trying to match full swing mechanics into the short game mechanics. So
Keith
that
Mitchell.
yeah, thank you. That's exactly who it was. And I really like that. I never thought about it that way, but I think I touched on it the last time I was on, where the short game bleeds into the long game.
Yep.
And conversely, if you think about it from the standpoint Keith Mitchell's talking about, if you're doing something opposing to your long game, which is what most of us are the most comfortable with, it can hinder the short game. So I think finding that method that maybe, you know, he talked a lot about, he didn't set his wrists a lot in the backswing. He kind of extended out, and that really helped him find a technique that was repeatable and did the things he felt were shortcomings of his. He talked about a lot of shaft lean and hitting it low and spinning, but not having the ability to hit the high shot. And when you find that method for yourself, however it is that you swing, and, you know, with technology, it's so easy to look at the first 18 inches of the backswing and see what your hands are doing and try to mimic the rest of the full swing. I think that's one key. I like that a lot, because I've always felt for myself that I wanted everything to feel like I could just step into it at any time. So I think one of the things with short game is finding a method, maybe that matches what you do full swing wise, because it's comfortable. And then if you work from a comfort level that's very high, you're going to make a lot of progress.
Yeah.
Right.
I think one thing that I always find with short game is I think everybody tries to be too perfect sometimes. And they got to understand that sometimes 6 to 10 feet from the hole, actually in where they were located, is actually a good chip.
Right.
You know, I feel like everybody's trying to get it to tap in, right? Not even where you can have to grab your putter. I'm talking about like keep your wedge in your hand, tap it in type stuff. And I think I think when people start putting that much pressure on themselves in that short game, that is why they struggle so much. I mean, you
Yeah.
chunked it, you duff it, you played it. Now you're looking at a 25 footer where you don't even have a chance really
Right.
to either save par or make that birdie per se
Right.
on that par five. But I love where you're going there, trying to bring in some of your long swings into
Yeah.
your chipping game.
One, and
What
I think another thing kind of along the lines that you're saying is, and I agree with you. I think people try to be so perfect, but there's the 10% rule. Okay. Then you may have heard this with putting where
Mhm.
a good putt is, if you don't make it, is what you have left is 10% of the distance that you had in front of you. Right. So if you have a 30-foot putt and you have 3 feet after the fact, that's a great putt. If you have 100 feet and you get it within 10 feet, that's a great putt.
Mhm.
So I think maybe applying that similar thought pattern to your chipping game or your short game. You know, PGA Tour player, the best of the best, from 100 yards, those guys hit it on average like 15, 18 feet.
Yeah.
You know, and we all go, man, they're so great with wedges and all these things, but their distance is not always that amazing shot that comes back to, you know, tap in range. Sometimes it's a 10-footer, you know,
Yeah.
and that obviously bleeds into putting and getting up and down. But I think if you're working on your short game, giving yourself that margin for error, say, hey, if I 25, 30 feet away in a chip shot and I end up, you know, 5, 10 feet when you're working on it, it's okay to have that margin for error. And as you get farther out, maybe it's not that you are proximity wise very close, but maybe your dispersion pattern, you know, comes in as you work on things. But I think
I
it
think
is.
trying to miss on the right side of the hole as
Yes.
well too is something that is
Yeah.
I've gotten better at. To where I kind of told myself, you know, I used to really try to leave it short, like right
Right.
below the hole, right below, and letting them understand a good chip is past the hole, and even if it runs out 4 to 5 feet, that's the side of the cup I want to be on. It's going to give me the best opportunity to make that 4 to
Yeah.
5 footer coming back, and
Yeah.
kind of understanding what your landing zones and rolling out. But you know,
I
kind
don't
of
know.
elaborate on some of the
Some holes on your guys' home course. Yeah, some chip shots, if you go past the hole, you're long gone. I'm just gonna throw out number 7. Just
yeah.
thoughts. If you're
Well, no,
behind the
I
hole,
think
Well,
the
so
last time Brian, Steve, and I played together, we talked about on certain pin placements, the golf course is 3 to 4 shots easier
yeah.
or more challenging just by where they put the pin because
yeah,
your misses are so small. I mean, really,
I
like
like I
on
like
number
to think
7
the
you're talking
last
about, there really is only one miss. Otherwise,
right.
it's nearly an impossible up and down because of where the
Right.
pin placement is in that back left.
The
So
last 2 times we played that course has been like 10 to 12 shots harder than normal, I think.
And well, so I think, you know, one thing that you can do while you're looking at on course short game shots is you can weigh the margin for error that a shot puts in front of you. So, you know, take number 7, for instance. You know, you're probably, let's say you missed in the rough and you're just in the front. And for anybody listening who's not seen the hole we're talking about, the screen has a 4.5-foot slope in the middle of it and a back left pin. You've got a 2-foot by 2-foot area where you have to have the ball stop in or it runs off the green. So it's very penal to not miss the green or the just to the left or be on the proper
right.
level. So if we're short of that flag, you know, one thing I see a lot of people do, because it's very in vogue since Tiger came out, is you grab the 60 degree and you
I
go,
was
I'm going to,
just about to ask
you
you
know,
what you
I'm
use.
I'm going up top with the 60 degree, which in some situations is a great play. But the longer the ball is in the air, the smaller the margin for error is where that ball lands and where it ends up. Okay. Now, that being said, would it make sense to take a 7-iron and punch it and run it up the hill? It might. You know, so I think when you're facing a difficult chip shot or just any chip shot in general, if you have a baseline set of rules that you operate in, you can alleviate or eliminate, I should say, some of the mental anguish of going, oh my God, is this the right shot? So I have a couple rules. If it's an uphill chip shot, generally speaking, I take less loft. I want the ball to get on the ground. Margin for error goes way up, right? I have a bigger circle I can land the ball in, and I'm going to let it run up the hill. I want it to go. I feel like I can be aggressive with that. Whereas if I took a 60 degree and tried to fly something all the way back there, I could just as easily chunk it or hit it too long or not land it far enough and it comes back down the hill. And I really didn't accomplish anything. I'm only a little bit closer, or I might even have a more difficult pitch shot or chip shot. So I think weighing what's in front of you, sort of having a baseline set of rules to say, hey, my margin for error up in the air is really small. My margin for error on the ground is really big, but which one is the right play for you? And in your short game practice, that's where you would find that. And I would recommend anyone, myself, I do this all the time. Cameron asked me the other day, he said, what do you practice when you do short game? And I hit shots that are not stock. I short side it. I make it longer. I make it downhill, and I change clubs and see how those clubs react and the results that come from selecting a separate club than I might have normally done. Because if I practice what I'm not comfortable with, the hard shots are easier and the easy shots are way easier, right?
What, you talked about uphill, less loft.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go with another, like if it's a flatter one, or even if it's downhill, what are you looking to do of those?
So I think a downhill one, it would be easy to say more loft.
Okay.
And the flat ones, you could say more loft as well. But I think to the point you were saying earlier, where you want the ball to finish maybe beneath the hole.
Yeah.
Generally, I feel for myself that downhill shots, I can use more loft because I can be more aggressive with the shot, because the loft is going to add some spin and I can make sure I'm being positive through the strike and the ball's not going to get away from me too bad. Right. So if there's a big slope behind a hole and it's a little downhill running into it, I'm going to use my 60.
Okay.
And I'm going to take all that loft and I'm going to be aggressive to a spot that's going to land, take some spin and be short. And if it gets a little long, I know it's not going to get crazy.
Okay.
A flat one, I would say the flat one's where you know, do you love your 56?
Which
do
one
you
you
love
like
your
more?
60? Do you love your pitching wedge? Brad, that I don't like to chip from off the green, or I don't like to putt from off the green.
No, I know.
So I pull the pitching wedge quite a bit.
No Texas wedge for you?
No,
We're talking like a foot into the fringe. We're
Yeah.
still chipping.
I had one the other day. It was this far off the green, Greg, and I pulled the wedge. For me, that's a comfort thing. And I think that's when you're practicing short game, is finding that comfort, right? So flat lies, you can kind of do whatever you want. Is it cool and sexy to hit that little spinner guy? Absolutely. It's nothing better than watching a ball sizzle on the green. The tour players do it. But what I would say in response to tour players doing it is, that's the shot that it calls for in that situation for them. They're not hitting that shot to have everybody go, ooh, ah. Generally those really skinny guys are front pin and they've hit a poor shot to get there.
Yeah.
Right. They don't have a choice. Now they're fortunate that their skill set allows that shot and it's cool. I would love to spin it backwards from 40 yards. Right. But I think anytime you're looking at a short game shot, you want to weigh the options out in terms of, where do I want this ball to end up? What's the trouble short? What's the trouble long? Does it make sense, to our example on 7? Does it make sense for me to get something running up the hill and possibly have it leak off the green just to the left, but I've got an uphill putt or a chip, whatever it may be? Is that going to get you to a spot where your score isn't going to get out of control? So I think that's how you weigh that. And I would love to say there's an answer to what you should do and what Greg should do and what
Yeah.
everyone should do. But I
So I
think,
think everybody says it's creativity, right? Isn't
right.
that what Tiger invented? Was he eliminated the one type of chip
Yeah.
and he brought in creativity. And we
Yeah.
could get into the details of the 50-50, 70-30, how
Yeah.
far we want to fly it to run it. But if you had the advice for one person for a 10-15 handicapper, what would be your go-to drill for them at the either short game area, chipping area, or even just off a putting green? What would be your go-to drill for them to do?
Well, one, I think it's really important to find the bottom of the swing when you're chipping. I think a
Okay.
lot of people just assume you play the ball back in your stance and you go from there. And to me, that exposes too much of the leading edge for most people. And it's very difficult to be in a situation where that's always the appropriate setup. So just
Shout
like
out Anthony, friend of the show, loves to play it back, one type of chip. I mean,
Yeah.
it's something he's working on. He actually bought more than just the pitching wedge. Now he's ready to start
That's-
to evolve.
I mean, I
That's
play
cool.
the ball back too ever since Brian told me about it last year at FairwayFit.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I
playing
think-
back's one thing, but he is one
Yeah.
chip.
Yeah. So again, I think finding what the center of so if you could hit your ideal chip shot, what would it be, Greg? Would it be like a little back foot runner? Would it be that one that's mid trajectory, hits the green and sizzles a little bit and then runs out, right to the hole?
Mine mostly are probably mid trajectory that have a good amount of run on it. I don't stop the ball extremely
Okay.
well. Every once in a while, I still think that I stop the ball better with a 7-iron than I do with from 160 yards than I do with a wedge from 30. But
Well,
I'm
and what
definitely not a higher hitter. Obviously, I can skull the heck out of it, but I mean, I would say I'm more mid trajectory that basically lands, skips forward, and comes to a stop.
So what I would say that the cause of that could be is that your ball position is inconsistent. Probably creeps a little too far back, probably creeps a little too far forward. And then because of that inconsistency, you're going to have, that or way down or you decel. I'm sure you struggle with when it gets soft out. Probably
at times, yeah.
Right.
Digging
So
a little
you
bit.
dig. So, the bottom of your wedge, if you take it and you tilt it this way, that leading edge is very sharp. But if you take it and you open it this way, the back of that is not as sharp.
Mhm.
That's the bounce of the club. And the bounce of the club, right, is designed to bounce. So not getting into my advice is find the bottom of your swing where if you just stood over the ball centered or just the grass centered and you swung the club, you're going to brush the grass in a certain point. And my suggestion would be to put that ball in that point and then make your adjustments from there. Because you can hit it high, you can hit it low, you can hit it mid trajectory from the middle of your stance with some tweaks to the technique that you use. Open the face more, close the face down, all of those things. But I think consistency of strike is the big thing that I notice with everyday golfers, 10s, 15s, 20s, handicaps, 5s. Everyone. That's why tour players and everyone at a high level work so much on their short game. It's finding the bottom of the swing every single time. So if I was going to say work on something, it would be ball position so that your strike is consistent every single time and hammer that in. And then if you wanted to throw a fun one, go to Walmart, buy a hula hoop, stick it out on the green and give yourself a landing spot.
I like the towel one.
The towel's a good one too. The hula hoop's a little bit more of a people pleaser, I think. Gets the crowd talking about you. I think ball position
in a good way.
I think ball position is underrated in people's practice in anything, long game, short game, anything. Ball position is, that's everything, right? If your ball position is bad, everything else kind of follows suit, right? Too far back, too far forward. It's very hard to be consistent with poor ball position, and the chipping motion is so short. All we have to do is we're talking about moving the ball that much back and forth, right? So
half a ball sometimes.
exactly.
So. No, I think
I
that's
would say
great.
that's one of my biggest issues is inconsistent ball position, because
Yeah.
I find when I practice that, like, if I have an errant shot, the first thing I do is change. Like, I basically look down, ball position, change ball position a little bit. All right, moved a little forward, moved a little bit back, and I play
Right.
with the ball position the entire time as I'm going through, and be like, okay, let me try and replicate that. And it seems like that's one thing I've never been able to just lock down.
Yeah. And it definitely takes some work to lock that in. But I think with short game, and you could say that it does change a little bit every day, because every day is, new on the range and new when you go out to hit. I think a good barometer is just brush the grass. Set up like you were going to chip, brush the grass, see in relation to your feet where that ball position is, and give yourself that visual reference to keep it consistent throughout the day.
Yeah, I think everyone could take your advice there, and obviously the ball positioning, picking out a target, and working on those trajectories to hit those targets. The only other thing I have found that helped is obviously the repetition of hitting the target, understanding that swing and that stroke, and I'm I kind of in a different type of releases as well too. Release 1, 2, and 3, which are the common terms that I've heard. But the only other thing I tell people is everything I at least read or hear is put out your chips, and make a game out of everything, because you don't have to go out there and just chip for 100 balls.
Right.
Go out there and take 30 of them, or take 3 of them, and try to get up and down 2 out of 3 times. And put it out, because you're going to learn it's not, the pressure is actually more in the chip and putt. It's not in one or the other. And the more pressure you put on yourself, the more natural it's going to feel in the round.
Right. Well, we talked last time. I think one of the things I said is playing par. That's the game that I call it, and it's just with one ball and the putter. And if I have time, I'll go 18 holes, and I try to get up and down. And it's not easy shots. It's I take the ball, throw it over the shoulder, and wherever it ends up, I pick a difficult shot and try to see if I can get up and down. So you get the reps of a shot you might not want, and you have the pressure of, hey, I need to keep this going. And it gets really pressure packed when, it's 16, 17, 18 of this game, and you're even par, or maybe you've chipped in and you're under par, and you're like, I need to keep this going. And I think that's when you ramp up, hey, I'm going to make this one really difficult. See if I can, pull through. Because as you know, Brad, the hardest thing to recreate is game time.
Oh yeah.
In practice, you can, in baseball, you can have your other guys on your team out on the field doing the same stuff, but it's not, it's not the same. The pressure's not there. And,
I mean, there's a reason why every young golfer has won the Masters on their putting green at the age of 7, 8, and 9 multiple times, because they're hitting that last 10-footer to win the Masters on 18. And yes, they are recreating it as much as they can. It's nothing like obviously winning the Masters for real. So, but thanks again, Steve. We really appreciate you having you on. By far one of mine and Greg's favorite parts of our show that we've had the addition to Tips of the Pro from Stevie P. And we'll check back in a couple of weeks, because we're actually playing a tournament with the pro himself.
Oh yeah.
Nice little follow-up with. So, Steve, appreciate you having you on.
Yeah. Anytime, guys. Thanks for having me.
The Fairway Fit Golf Podcast is fired up to welcome our new headline sponsor, Back 9 of Leesburg. The Back 9 is the place for serious golfers. Track every shot, connect with your crew, and dominate every round. Don't wait. Grab your membership now and join Leesburg's fastest growing elite golf community, Back 9 of Leesburg. Let's go.
All right, Greg, I don't know about you, but I can listen to Stevie P talk golf all day.
He's just a like, I might be dating myself, but like an encyclopedia of golf knowledge.
I know. It's very blue collar. It's like let's just go to work type thing. And, I think that's kind of where our mentality is, we're not scared of a little bit of hard work or challenges in front of us. And so, glad that he's going to be on our team in a few weeks as we have a exciting tournament, which we will get to in our future episodes. But man, a lot of great short game knowledge from him. And I will tell you, playing with him up and down is something that he does. He gets up and down, and you'll see it too, because you'll be playing with him. You're like, oh, I missed a couple greens on the front. And, hey man, how'd you do? I was 1 under, and you're like, oh, you got up and down there. He rolled in a 12-footer there. Got up and down there. You got up and down there. And then you're like, oh man, maybe you're right. When you actually were thinking you were only like a shot or two behind him, you end up being 3 or 4 shots behind. And so, really exciting to play with. But fitness, we talk fitness. We are Fairway Fit. Fitness is part of us. Again, we're trying to look good, feel good, play good, look good. We've got that taken care of. Check out our store at FairwayFitGolf.com. Got a lot of exciting things that coming out. We got a new line for the PGA Championship coming out in a few weeks. But man, we have what you need. You want to look good, this is the place to go for very reasonable prices. Go check us out, FairwayFitGolf.com. Check us out on our socials as well too while you're there. We talk about playing good. We always have our tips from the pro. Let's talk about feeling good. Obviously we are gym people. Even if it's on a smaller scale, some weeks to a bigger scale. I can say with some injuries and some tweakness, it's probably been a little bit more on the smaller scale for both of us. But one thing we wanted to talk about, and I shot you a message earlier, is I want to talk about some exercises that the common golfer can do that you think are must-dos, are must-haves. Everyone's got that must-have club or that must-have golf training aid. Let's talk about must-do exercises. I asked you to pick 3. I've got 3 myself. They may overlap. We don't know. We haven't really talked about them too much, but we're going to kind of talk about the exercise, how the exercise works, and then, of course, obviously the purpose that we believe the purpose is and how it can make our golf game better. We'll let you start. What is one must-do exercise in your workout routine?
I'll start with just a simple and easy, and it's pretty adaptable whether you have a full set of equipment or you have just a single dumbbell, but we'll go with a rotational squat press. So basically think you're in your position, you have a single dumbbell in an arm, and we are rotating the hips very similar to how we would in a golf swing. Basically think of it as a 45-degree turn of your upper torso while you're pressing a weight up. Engage both lower and upper body and kind of work on synchronous moving, if you will, considering what is the golf swing, it's moving in synchronization as far as like a pattern. So I think that something like that, just prepping not only your muscles, lower body and upper body, but also kind of like your CNS, your sequencing of your muscles is great just for any golfer to kind of focus on their fitness with that.
All right. So let's slow that down, because rotational squat press.
So think squat down.
Doing this, we're going to squat down, and I'm turning with my weight behind me, kind of like I'm coiling for a swing.
Right.
I'm taking my back way.
And tell you the truth, beginner, let's not even focus that. Advanced, yes, you can externally rotate your trunk like towards that, but a beginner, just think that I'm staying totally neutral upper body. I'm squatting down, and then on the way up, I'm quarter turns.
Exploding like Superman. I'm ready to go.
Very much so.
I love it. Obviously, dumbbell, kettlebell.
Yes. Dumbbell, kettlebell. You can hit it with a landmine as well if you want. You can do a lot of different things with that. So you can do it. Hell, you could do it with a band if you needed to. Just attach the band.
Talk about it puts in some mobility right then and there with you as well too. And I think what people are going to realize is, I know in my 3 that I chose, that it's a little bit of getting away from some of those traditional exercises, especially as we age. Let's be honest. You were listening to Tips of the Pro. With Stevie P, we talked about how we're getting up there. We're getting up there, and not that I don't like the traditional stuff, but I do think of not as much pressure or intensity in those sometimes is going to help us get on the golf course. And
Yeah.
when we talk about feeling good, yeah, we want to be, in shape and all that stuff, but it's really making sure that we're healthy enough to be on the
Mhm.
golf course. So I'm going to take one pretty similar to you, and I'm just going to kind of even simplify it even more, taking the press out. I'm going out with the more traditional goblet squat. Um, I like goblet squat. Again, you can hold a kettlebell, just like a
Mhm.
goblet with the two hands out in front of you, or you can hold it as a dumbbell, or you can hold it with a medicine ball if you just want to do a medicine ball, or a plate if you just want to hold a plate, but just holding it out in front of your chest.
Or even
I really
unweighted,
think
you can basically
100%.
manipulate that to any person's skill set.
And I think the reason why I think it's so important is it kind of helps you be able to translate the force not only through your body, but taking that force from the ground up. And obviously that's where you generate your speed and your distance for your golf swing is you have to be able to use the ground, right? I mean, we don't have the same amount of force and inertia for the ground. So, making sure that I'm taking it from the dirt up or from the ground up, it builds not only upper body strength by holding it and engaging my core, um, but it's also building up obviously leg strength and leg strength not only in the swing, but something I like to do a lot. I like to walk on the golf course, so you got to have some strength in your legs, especially walking the hills
Oh,
here at
yes.
Stone Lake. So, I mean, it's power. That's basically what it is. A little bit step back from yours. You added the explosive, which I really, really like, but I dumbed it down just to be that
Mhm.
that normal goblet squat. So that's one of my go-tos. I mean, I used to really, really enjoy back squatting. I had just found putting that pressure on my spine. I'm just not into it
Do you
anymore.
ever
I
go
mean,
heels elevated?
I did. I did. I've done that. And I actually got really in the front squat a lot more this year to take some of that pressure off. I just, with the lack of equipment I have at the house and different things, I
Do
can
you
actually
do you, when you
I
front
can plunge
squat,
and rest.
do you
I'm sorry.
when you front squat, do you barbell it?
I do barbell it,
Do
but I
you
have
are
to.
you I was about to say I'm that way
So I
too
can't.
because I don't have the wrist or
Well, I
shoulder
don't have it
mobility to
from
get it.
my playing days and my
Yeah.
surgery in my elbow. I can't even touch my shoulder. So,
I never
it looks
noticed that.
yeah. I can't touch my shoulder with my right arm. So I can do it when it's hot, 90 fly plus, and I've been working out, I get a little loose, but late night here, stiff. I'm not going to be able
Gotcha.
to do it. So, um,
Okay.
so squats obviously are important, huge thing. What do you got for your second
I'm
workout
I'm gonna
or your second exercise? I'm
I'm
sorry.
gonna flip it from more so anterior to posterior chain. I mean, that's always a huge thing with relatively with any fitness regimen, but at the same time with golfers is that posterior chain, so the back portion of your muscles. I'm gonna go with basically a trap bar deadlift. Obviously, you can change it up however way you want. You can do it dumbbell, you can do straight bar, you can, do it 25 different ways. But a trap bar deadlift just kind of puts it at a slightly higher level so that it's a little less stress on the lower back and more so you can hit those hamstrings and glutes that Tiger has always said you need to fire in order to
Yep.
gain distance is fire the glutes. So I think that's always a great workout exercise to incorporate into somebody just starting. You can basically extend it and dumb it down to the point where it's perfectly fine. You can do RDLs, you can do sumo squats, you can do all these uh different types of deadlifts, and it fits the key of chaining that posterior chain.
So growing up, I felt like I was the type of athlete that can mimic a lot of things that I see, like and how people do it. And I love trap bar. Like I have fallen in love with trap bar. And I think the reason is because anytime you watch the golf channel and they show somebody doing exercises, they're all doing
Oh,
trap
I
bar.
think it would be the number one golf
They're
exercise for pros.
jumping in it. I saw the farmers carry with the trap bar,
Hmm.
like you name it,
Have you
they're
seen the
doing trap
single
bar.
side farmers carry with the trap bar where they
I have,
load just one side?
just one side. So another one that they always always see in those things are deadlifts, and I'm going to take it. Though this one, I'm going to get a little bit more into the mobility because I think the strength of this or what's so good about this is huge when it comes to a golf swing and a baseball swing as well too, which I guess I'm a little more accustomed to, and that's single leg deadlift. I really like hitting that. I've gotten away from the more of the traditional. I still do it every once in a while, but I got away from the more traditional. The single leg, it really makes sure I'm hitting my hamstrings, and it's balance, right? I'm a big believer in balance. And again, I know everybody can argue with me. Scotty's falling off when he hits his shot,
But he's not
but
falling down.
99% of the golfers are not, right? The balance is extremely important to them. It's a key to keeping that rhythm and that sequencing that you also talked about earlier in a golf swing together. So, a little bit lighter weight, but keeping that balance through that single leg RDL I think is extremely important. I don't want to get rid of the traditional RDL, but I just adding in that single, and I've done it with the TRX motioning where I'm going out in front of me. I've done it dumbbell, done it kettlebell, done it multiple different ways. So it's funny how our both of our exercises are very similar, but just that light little tweak that we both do.
I personally, like, I'm not a huge fan of just straight single leg, just because I feel like I can't weight it heavy enough to like basically without having a hand support or something like that. So like, that's why I always do the kickstand RDL, because I feel like I can weight it enough to really feel it in my hamstring glute. But like, same situation, I'm pushing all the weight into one leg, and the only thing that I'm really focusing on is just keeping me, balanced a little bit more with that kickstand.
So my big challenge, the one I've been doing, is the single leg with the body bar, not a barbell, but a body bar, and then
Back?
rotating. No, out in front of me, and then rotating all the way down. Yeah. So, and it's not the amount of weight that I'm using. It's so much core and balance, because I mean, if you don't engage your core, obviously, with balance,
You should try six. Oh, you know what? This is probably, I haven't seen this, but that just you talking about a rotation there. You should do like a single leg RDL, like ISO, with a kettlebell handoff back and forth, where basically that kettlebell swings and you're just basically bracing the core.
Yeah.
Like, that's anti-rotation, I guess you would call it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, there's so many different tweaks.
Oh, yeah.
I think the big thing is you were noticing of both of our exercises, it's not traditional. I mean, we're trying to incorporate that golf, a little bit of the balance, force, inertia, and everything in there. So, I mean, it's great. But let's hit our third one here. What do you got?
The last one is mine's always, I call it an archer row. It's basically a low to high cable pulley roll, that instead of basically staying square on it, you're rotating as if you're pulling a bow back. I think that's great for our golf swing, T-spine mobility, actually rotating with, punching with one arm, pulling with the other. I currently don't have a system where I can do what, golfers do now, where they're pulling and punching at the same time.
Yeah.
But I do it in a split stance, so that basically I bring my core stability into it, so that I have a very narrow stance, so that I can kind of also feel driving into that lead leg, if you will. Something I struggle with early extension. I really want to try and get on that lead leg. So that's something I use.
So the pulling and punching, I did try. Gosh, this was probably about 3 weeks ago. I had a band on the.
Oh, okay.
So I thought it was cooler to punch with the weights and pull the band.
Mhm.
So I turned it that way, and it worked. It kind of did what I wanted to do. I was just trying to, because again, that was another one I saw in the videos. I was like, oh, I like that. I like that.
But they have those ones with the big adjustable arms that extend out and rotate and stuff, and we don't have one of those. So.
But I have a bow, and I still shoot my bow periodically. So I'll take that as my exercise for that.
Just go split stance on it.
It's split stance. It's number
unless you're up in a tree.
Yeah, unless I'm up in the tree. I'm just trying not to fall out when I'm up in the tree, because you're reaching over. Anyway, that's a whole nother podcast. Check us out. No. So my last one is probably my favorite one. And one thing I do now that I'm teaching more in the weight room and everything, I always try to have couple exercises that add athletic movement, box jumps, different things like that. But this one is my med ball slams and my med ball rotational throws. I mean, I'm just categorizing those together. And I'm actually going to, not only have I seen that one, obviously in the golf videos and as well too, I always bring up this moment. And in the World Series last year, Big baseball in our house, big Dodger fans. My little guy is with Freddie Freeman, and if Freddie's ever listening, man, shoot us out. But their whole team was out in the concourse, below the concourse in their hallway area, throwing med balls of some sort of rotational, getting their arm action, the lighter weight med balls, activating their muscles before the game. And I remember getting a clip of that, even taking it to my 10U baseball team and say, listen, this is what you need to be doing. If you want strength and overall power, this is the explosive moves we need to be doing. I mean, strength training, speed training, it basically, let's be honest, if you want distance, this is the exercise for you.
Yeah.
You could do it, the rotational over the top, you could throw it off the wall, you could throw the med balls in any way, making sure you're getting ground force from the ground, getting force from the ground up as well there too. But man, it's by far one of my favorite baseball. I have my little guy doing it. I have my oldest one doing that. And we're starting to incorporate the other one as well too. She loves some other different moves that we do for basketball, but we're starting to incorporate the med ball throws. I mean, just overall strength. I mean, your core is activated, and I love them.
Helps with stability too. So
yeah,
stability of all your muscles, even the upper body
100%.
one.
I mean, it's kind of a full body, even though you don't feel it. It's kind of full body. Can't get the high school kids to buy in on it. My baseball kids do, because again, maybe they've seen that video and they see that important. Can't get your average Joe in my class to do that. But I hope everyone is taking some good notes. There's 6 quality exercises that you can do. So again, as we were telling you, we can look good. FairwayFitGolf.com's got everything you need to look good. You can feel good. And that way you can go out and play good. And once again, before we sign off here, if you are looking to play good, Back 9 at Leesburg is your place. I mean, you can grind as much as you want to take yourself from a 10 handicap to a single-digit handicap or below. Or if you just want to play with your buddies, the opportunity's there. 24/7 access, full swing simulators, just like Tiger Woods has, and of course the putt view, which
I think we should nickname it the Predator view.
The Predator view. The putt view that's either going to tell us that we're, as maybe the average putters we think we are really that bad. But make sure to check that out. Make sure to check us out on all our social medias. And make sure to check us out next week, as we will be back next week for another episode of Fairway Fit Golf. Talk to you then.